This is the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast with Ferd. If you're looking to generate wealth and passive income in the lucrative world of mobile home parks, you're in the right place. You'll discover solutions to the common legal and operational pitfalls and how to optimize parks to maximize income. Your host is in the trenches. He's a real estate attorney, financial analyst, and mobile home park investor and operator. Now, let's turn it over to Ferd.
Welcome back, Mobile Home Park Nation. Ferd here again with another episode of the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast. Hey, I'm just doing another case study here today, following up on the one I just did. I think I called that one something along the lines of 2 rules of business: don't take no for an answer, and never use your own money. This deal, I would say, is kind of a rule of business, be synergistic. And the old definition I heard for synergy is 2 + 2 = 5. So that's what I did here. This was a park right down the street. It was 48 spaces. Let me pull up my pro forma here. It had city water, city sewer, but it was, everything was included. They mowed the grass for everybody. They mowed the common areas. They took care of the water, all that kind of stuff. And it was not that profitable. So they had about 22 occupied. So not that great in the long run. So, but really nice park. But the operators, they were overkill because they owned a ton of property in this town, like 600 single-family homes, 500 apartments, 500 mobile homes, mobile home park sites, construction company, bunch of storage facilities, and they were huge. They were the biggest player in town. And this was like their, redheaded stepchild off the side. They didn't care about it because it was off the other end of town. It was just small. And it looked nice, but they didn't spend any money on infilling it. It had no amenities, no pizzazz. It was just well maintained. It was like the bare bones property in good condition. But it had good bones though. So I was just like, I need to tackle this. And a wholesaler sent it to me, or a broker actually. It was a pocket listing because they tried to buy the broker tried to get the listing for the 200 site and the 300 site park in the same town, and they said, we'll never sell those. Well, what about this 48 site park? Okay, we're listening. So they said we'd want about, I think they said about 825. And so, like any good broker, he calls me, hey, they want 825. So we make a cold call, write a letter. Oh, yeah, they can answer. I guess we'll entertain selling. We say, what are you thinking? Oh, make us an offer. How about 825? They go, it's an interesting price. Somebody else just told us that's what it's worth. I guess we'll make a deal. So I was like, all right. So I ended up doing it, getting it. And the other synergy for me was I'm going to build rapport with these guys because I got a handshake deal that if I turn this park around and the other park down the street that was really rough that I talked about in my last episode, they said, if you can turn those 2 around, we'll entertain talking about the bigger 2. And then they had another park in town that was 100% vacant. It was 100 sites that have been sitting there for years. They go, we'd entertain a joint venture on that. So I'm looking at synergy of build rapport with the seller. I'm building off of the rapport I have from the last park where I threatened a lawsuit, and then they all of a sudden liked me. And I did a really good job. And this was mid-process. These were almost back-to-back. They're like 3 to 4 months apart in closing. So I didn't have the total resolution yet with the city that I mentioned in the last episode. So I didn't get investors in this deal either. Now, the last deal, I hardly put any money in because I had seller finance in the second position, which my bank blessed. Here, at a different bank, because I was kind of tapped out for a moment at the first bank. So, and then this seller wasn't going to seller finance. So I had to put 20% down, no big deal. I'm at 825. I made a point. I was told them I'm not going to retrade a penny, and I never did. That I wanted to really be, and right now I'm still in negotiations with them to fill out what I described as the third other park they own in the community. So I'm building rapport with them. I built rapport with the city. Ultimately, I turned around both parks so well that I went to the city and I said, hey, can I get a little bit of expansion here? What are you talking about? I go, look, there's green space here. It might have been a trailer park in the past, trailer park site. And they're like, we looked at aerial photography and you did too. It's never been a mobile home site. I go, yeah, you're right. But 48 + 1 is less than 48 plus 5, and it's the city administrator has typically 10% discretion to go beyond the zoning code, to quote, exacerbate the zoning code for legal nonconformities. So basically, he's like, you got room for one, I'll give you one. So I just got basically an amended plan without going to city council, without hiring an architect or an engineer or surveyor, just literally a markup plan that my colleague did on, I don't know, Lucid Press or I don't know, Pinterest or Adobe or something. And he added a site for me. So boom. And this is in the lot rents are 430 a month. This in the other synergy here is we've been able to bring in new homes and be able to sell them at a profit. Even though the park 2 blocks on the street is 2 blocks on the street, we can't sell new homes at a profit. It's just not enough nice enough park. This park, big lots, big roads, nice decor, nice neighborhood. We're bringing in brand new homes. We're selling at a profit, which is tough to do in the Midwest. This is in Missouri. So the synergies include rapport with city, rapport with seller, having a nearby park, which means I have 48 sites in one, 47 there, which is 95. Well, I get the economies of scale. If I want to go refinance these with agency debt, it's called a scattered site. They're within 3 miles, common ownership, me, common management, me. Boom. I can get a non-recourse agency loan, even though the typical minimum is 50 sites. They'll make an exception because it's a scattered site. So boom, I'm at 95. Did such a good job turning them around. Boom, I'm at 96. And they're 2 blocks away. So boom, one manager. Actually, I don't even have a manager. I have another park 45 miles away that's 89 sites that I have preliminary approval from the city to get an expansion of like 13 there pending. That one's got to go through zoning and stuff, but it's legal conforming. I'll do another podcast on that probably next because I just refinanced that part as well. It's been a minute since I've done these podcast episodes, but so they sound like they're right on top of each other, but they're 4 months apart. But I've got one manager, and it's actually a construction manager managing 3 parks, which is now at about 187 spaces within 45 miles. Pretty sweet. So synergy, baby. And I've been able to piggyback on the synergy of the previous deal of a zoning fight. So they didn't even mess me on this one. So I got the ability to put homes in my public streets. My streets are like, or private streets, my streets are like 45 feet wide, which are huge. I don't need 45 feet wide. Let me bring in 76-foot trailers and put them 10 feet in the road. And I kind of made like jack-o'-lantern teeth on the one side. It looks a little awkward, but I got bigger homes. On the other side, I got 100-foot lots, so I've got them off the road, so I've got sufficient parking. And I just carried out my regular business plan. This one was low occupancy. I think what I said was at like 22 or something, which is kind of pathetic. Not pathetic. I don't, these guys were nice guys and good people, but and good businessmen. I mean, the family's a billionaire. To give you an idea. So that's the other thing is I was trying to really get in with these guys. This was their lowest priority. So they just didn't focus on it. And they built it like in the 50s and 60s. Like Grandpa put in the sewer lines. Grandpa built a massive, massive enterprise. One of the richest families in the Midwest. But they're only at 22 occupied. Well, guess what? I'm at 48, about to be 49. And we sell these homes like crazy. And we filled these houses like we demoed one, maybe. We lost one or two move outs, crazy people. I had a crazy guy. At one point, I put a video on LinkedIn. This guy did not want to comply with the rules. So he said if we tried to kick him out, he would burn his trailer down, that kind of stuff. Well, he went and his business was he'd go buy, I guess, steel windows and he would sell the metal frames of windows. So he would put like 50 feet of windows on his property, a vacant lot next to him. He'd have an entire vacant lot filled with windows. And then he would take a hammer and he would smash the glass out and create this massive pile of glass. And then he would go sell the metal and the metal frames. That was his business. Well, then he would also, for just because he's a derelict, he would go get pallets and he would get wood windows. He'd smash the glass and he piled up. On the day he moved out, he pulled his trailer out. He broke a water line, ripped over all the stuff. He piled up all these wood pallets and wood window frames and he lit them on fire. And the flame was something like 75 feet high. In the city, in its infinite wisdom, rather than pursue criminal charges against this guy, they sent us a fine. Like, wow. It's after I already tried to sue him in the zoning, but a different department. So we had our hands full there, but ultimately we were able to carry out our business plan, fill the occupancy up to 100. Now it's gonna be over 100% of the pro forma. We put in a soccer goal area, which is just kind of grass area, but excess ground. We have a lot of ground. We have a community garden. We have a playground. dog park, covered picnic area. We converted the shop into half office, half supply room shop. We have 3 site-built homes on the property. We put in nice landscaping and fencing and rose bushes and stuff. We painted a bunch of homes, and we infilled a bunch of homes, and we infilled new homes. So that's really how you turn 2 plus 2 into 5, is when you bring in new homes, because they transform the look of the community. Now, there's a cost, and in some markets, like the one that's 45 miles away that I referenced, you can't do it at a profit. So the lesson there is we had to eat some money on every sale. Not as fun as this one where we didn't have to do that. So overall, um, good park. Let me pull up the appraised value here. We bought it for 825 in, looks like August 11th of 21, about 4 years ago as I write this. We refinanced it a couple months ago though. So it didn't take us quite 4 years. We could have done it faster. I was pretty ready to refinance 3 years ago, or 3 years in, really 2.5, but I was trying to wait out the interest rate market. So this is another lesson I forgot. I was going to do Fannie Mae or CMBS, but the rates are so high right now. I don't want to lock in the rate. I don't know if I'm thinking about selling these parks in this region. So it's like, do I want to have a big defeasance or yield maintenance penalty? So instead I said, let me negotiate with the local bank to do a deal now, see if they can almost match the terms of Fannie Mae. They can't match the interest rate, but they could match some of the other stuff. Actually, they did on interest rate. They couldn't match the IO period. And I said, if you guys give me no prepay penalty, if I sell, but only if I refi, I'll do a 3-2-1 or something. So I ended up going with the local bank, got a bunch of cash out. This is 2,880,000 is the appraisal I'm looking at, which just like the last deal, they lumped them together. It was cross collateralized, which is 7.5 cap, which I think is garbage, but 2,880 times they did 70% LTV. So 2,016,000. Bought the deal for 825. So my loan was like 700 or something. I already closed the tab for my closing statement, right? To tell you, I just opened some files here. So, call that minus 700,000, million three out. Now I didn't actually get all that cash out because I had some home loans and stuff. And they didn't want to keep all those, so I just paid off the homes. But now I got a bunch of homes in the park-owned homes that are free and clear. So now I'm cash flowing like a horse, and if every time I sell a house, I get a distribution. So really good deal. A couple of parks, 500 yards away, 250, 200,000 in, 2.5, 3 years work, couple $1,000,000 um, in my pocket. And then that doesn't even count that I got 30% equity in the asset, and I got about 33, 34% park-owned homes owned debt-free on top of it. And I knew I know the percentage roughly because I was planning on refinancing with Fannie Mae. And you got to have last I checked, the park-owned home threshold's got to be 35% or less. So I was targeting that. And I got quoted in both CMBS and Fannie Mae, and I just didn't love the terms. So I drug it around for 6 months and waited the market out. Market didn't change. And I waited another 3, 4, 5 months and went to one local bank. They said, no, we don't like to cash out. Another local bank said, no, you're already at the cap. And then this local bank said, yeah, we'll do 70. And I've done that 3 times in 2025. All of them significant cash out refis. And I got no prepayment penalty. If I want to go do it again, I can do it again. If markets go down 100 bips, I'll do it. If a right price comes, I'll sell them, so on. So key here is look for synergy where you can get it. Till next time, thanks and God bless.
You've been listening to the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast with Ferd Neiman. Ready to learn more? Go to www.themobilehomelawyer.com for free resources and materials to help you succeed. If you love the podcast, go to Apple Podcasts, give us your review, and subscribe today. Thank you for listening. Neither the Supreme Court of Missouri nor the Missouri Bar reviews nor approves certifying organizations or specialist designations. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.